तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। Today is a very auspicious day. Today is Shura Day. So any prayer that you do, when you come here, I'm like any prayer you do today is supposed to be having many more results. So nice day to pray. Okay. So we were on chapter 4 and verse 1 and 2. And having established the fact that there is a whole big tradition of teaching, and the teaching tradition, in order for it to continue, the teaching has to transfer from one person to the other unadulterated by one's own opinions, one's own projections. My job as a teacher of Gita is not to tell what I think. It is to convey what Lord Krishna has to say to Arjuna. That is my commitment, right? And the extent to which I don't add my own values, to that extent I am doing justice to what is being said. So the teacher has a responsibility of not adding one's own opinion, because what is very interesting is once you enter into this relationship of teacher and student, the students are what? Very receptive and they are all very kind of absorbing everything that you say. So that means if you add your errors, what happens? The errors get compounded and they get really, so that's why there is this whole thing he says that there is a whole tradition, he talks about it here, Kalena Mahata Yogo Nashta Parantapa. When people start adding their own opinions and judgments and whatever, then the whole tradition is going on a, is it possible to reduce the fan? Sorry, Safina. Okay, so over a period of time, it goes on a tangent, so the teacher's responsibility is to make sure that one does this justice to the tradition. Now, in addition to that, which is like when there is a whole Guru Shishya Parampara, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is not just presented as one of the teachers, right? Because there is this whole tradition of teaching. Either you can say Lord Krishna is just one of the teachers in the link, but in the Gita, Lord Krishna is presented as Avatar. Okay? So now what does it mean? So that is something new. That's why he says that I started the tradition of teaching, which is from the time of Vivasvanta. So that is not, no person can claim that. So now we have to understand what is Avatara. In order to understand what is Avatara, we need to bring back what we understood about Ishvara. Okay? So Ishvara, as we understood, is this Sarvajnaha Sarvashaktiman. So I'm using Sanskrit words so that it conveys very specific meanings. We are not just talking about something just up in the air. Okay? Sarvajnaha means all knowledge, and that knowledge which manifests as what all these different laws. Okay? And Sarvashaktiman means not only that knowledge and the laws are there, there is a manifestation within which those laws operate. So therefore, there is a power to manifest the universe within which all the laws operate. Okay? So that intelligence and power is in form of all the objects and also the laws which are governed by the laws which govern those objects. So this is what we call Ishvara. So we saw that every law that we see in this universe, whether it is physics and within physics it is astrophysics or quantum physics, it is all taken as manifestation of Ishvara. The laws of biology are manifestation of Ishvara. The laws of psychology are manifestation of Ishvara. The laws of anatomy, physiology are manifestation of Ishvara. So each one is a manifestation of that all knowledge and all power. Within that, the epistemological laws which make you understand what I am communicating. All these laws are what? Manifestation of Ishvara. We saw law of dharma and karma are also manifestation of laws of Ishvara. In order for us to recognize the fact that Ishvara is in and through everything, the Vedic culture, it makes you see that intelligence which makes every object what it is. So therefore we worship all the different forms, from trees to sun, to water, to mountains, everything, because each one, you don't look upon that thing as just rocks, you look upon it as what? That intelligence which makes this rock formations in a way that in fact there are volcanic eruptions which make the mountains, you know, and there is this whole big laws involved, and that intelligence is what we are worshipping. Please understand. Also, when we talk about Shiva, for example, today Shivratri, it's not like there is some person who's sitting up in Kailash mountain or anything. At every given point in time, at every second, there is what we call the principle of destruction. Okay? So that particular destruction, which is also the power of Ishvara, we give it a name called Shiva. Okay? So therefore, in fact, the destruction can, you can't categorically say it is good or bad, because all your people, yeah, your sorrows,
even your body
you
says
exactly, they have to go.
forming all the time.
Absolutely.
It's not the bad.
Exactly.
Not the
So that means that whole relationship with destruction you have to change. Because we are so afraid of destruction, there is a psychological fear that we carry within us with reference to destruction. Now what are we doing? We are re-seeing that power in its totality, so that we are what? We are understanding, we want that those laws of destructions to work for us, and we are asking it, destroy my sorrow, destroy my small sense of I. You are using it very wisely to say that now, hey, you're a destroyer, I'm not afraid of you, can you do all this for me?
Destroy my walls,
Yeah,
my veils.
exactly. Right? So this is how any power which is there in this universe, either if you don't understand that power, what? You have fear. If you understand that power, what? You can use that power to your advantage. Okay?
I mean, similarly, death also, unless you destroy, you will not come to a new life.
Exactly. In fact, what I have a cousin who is a physiotherapist and a yoga therapist at Stanford Hospital, and she works with like team of doctors to help the patients, and she sees many people, old people, who need her help, and she says exactly what you are saying, Bela, that people have such a fear of death. Because for them, this is one life, and this is a last life, and after this, what? There is some kind of a extinction. For us, there is this big law of what? Generation and destruction, which is cyclical. Okay? And once you flow with that, then what? Then trauma is something which is kept, in a certain perspective. There is certain sadness, there is a certain sense of loss, but you are not totally carrying that whole fear in you. The psyche, she says, is very, very different. And that is what, when we understand the forces of the universe and see them as essential part of how the universe is made, that means we are not resisting certain realities. The more you integrate the realities in your understanding, the less your life is conflictual. Okay? So therefore, this is something so that means everything, the generating capacity, we give it a name called Brahma. Within generation and destruction, there is, as though sustenance, we call it Vishnu. So that means otherwise you can just say all knowledge and all power, but you don't know what does it mean and how exactly. So you categorize it and you say now all, when I say all, it means all this. So that means in your awareness you become more and more subtle. You learn to integrate the presence of Ishvara at every different level. Okay? So now, if this is Ishvara, then what is Avatar? That means Ishvara is not one person clearly, it is everything. So why, what is Avatara? Avatara is all within this creation. Every human being is born following what did we see? The laws of karma. Okay? So that means in your account, why your body is different from mine? Because your karmas are different from mine. So whatever fructifies is according to my own karma, which gives me different body, different mind, different circumstances, different makeup, different talents. All this is determined by karma. Okay? Now, how is Avatara born? If Avatara is born with karma, then it would be just a jiva. Okay. Now this Avatara is the creative capacity of that Ishvara, which manifests the whole universe according to laws. At times it manifests one given form, not as a result of law of karma, but to what? If there are distortions which are there, there is a corrective mechanism. So that corrective mechanism requires at times, the corrective mechanism can be working through human beings itself, but sometimes no human being can intervene because the distortions are too many. Okay? So that's why you require a special form to take care of the distortions which are major. Okay? So this is that coming into manifestation of one form which is not subject to law of karma. Okay? That is what we call Avatara. It is just as the all knowledge and all power can manifest all these billions and billions of forms, it manifests one form which is not as a result of karma but to take care of the corrections. And that is what we call Avtara. They come and they highlight one given aspect, they do that job and then they go away. That form has served its purpose and then it goes away. So Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is presented as Avtara. Okay? So Vishnu of Vishnu. Okay? Now, one thing is very, very important to understand. When I teach you, that when somebody understands the concept of Avtara, immediately they ask, so when is the next Avtara? Okay, when is it coming? As though, yeah, exactly, right? So as though we human beings are not capable of corrections. Okay? We human beings are capable of corrections, and that's why, in fact, it's not that you always need some external force to come. We can relearn many of the things that we have learned, and we can initiate those corrections which actually can what? Change the nature of the universe. In fact, if you see, just take a video of, if you have 100 years ago, how human beings lived and how human beings live now.
So we are also
We are also,
avatars.
in some ways,
We have
Either
some
there is
capacity
some-
to be avatar,
exactly.
to be the essence of it.
So we are not totally avatars because we come with laws
Karma.
of karma. Laws of karma means they define that
Oh,
avatara
okay.
doesn't come with laws of
Yeah,
karma.
yeah.
It comes specifically only for correction.
I see, yeah.
Oh my God, that movie. Released that movie. You've seen that
MSG.
movie?
Oh my God, hilarious.
Oh really?
One of these, there's this guy up in the Sardar, so thinks he's like the
An
reformer.
avatar.
He calls himself Ram Rahim
Sing Insan.
Singh Insan. It's a sect up there.
Now, you also have to understand another thing is that if you don't even need avatara to teach you Bhagavad Gita, okay? Because what is the vision of Ishvara? What does Lord Krishna say? That between you and me, there is no difference, right? So if anybody has understood this knowledge, whatever Lord Krishna is saying is coming to you exactly as it is meant to come. Okay? So therefore, now, what is the difference
So I
between...
have that
Yes,
mind here
exactly,
too.
absolutely. So what is the difference? Very good, Vela. What is the difference between a wise person and an avatar? A wise person is what? Born of karma, right? Has exposed oneself to this knowledge and has understood the whole knowledge in its totality without what? Adding one's own value or creating any distortion. This is what we call a wise person. Right? So now, still there is a difference between wise person and avatara. Where is the difference? The difference is not really in terms of the final reality, which is I am Satyam, Gnanam, Anantam, Brahma. All the forms are, they have a dependent reality, right? All that is something which is understood by Krishna. What is understood by Krishna is exactly what is understood by the wise person. There is no difference there, okay? But in the Upadhi, there is a difference. Because even after having understood this, as Vela says, I still have to go through what? My prarabdha karma, right? Because my body has come.
But Krishna's form is still subject to the same process?
No, this is why.
So that is the difference really.
Exactly. So the only difference is,
I've read is that when Lord Krishna came in this avatar, he was cursed. This is what that explanation said, and which is why there were several things that he wanted. Like he could never become king. The Yadavs could never become king. So maybe that's just one
that
understanding.
is one understanding, yeah. Because the tradition is not like that. The
No, but
tradition
if the
is-
form is not perishable, then why is there a finite time period
Yeah.
when Krishna lived, for
Because then
example?
Because
he's made
His
the correction.
purpose is
the
over.
purpose is
The
over,
correction
right?
was
You don't need, exactly, that purpose is over, so you have to go. Right? Because
That's
you
like
come
our-
for that correction. When that is done, then that your time is over. So you follow a certain, within this universe.
If he comes to the next avatar, he will not carry the burden like we do
We
of
will.
our karma.
We
The
will live
next
till our
avatar.
time.
No, the next
So-
Avtara may not be Krishna, it may be something
No,
else.
but it's
Same
still an avatar of
manifestation.
Vishnu of what we understand. There may not be like
Form.
a person Vishnu. It's what we understand as this all knowledge of preservation. Is
Exactly.
Vishnu.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this will come in another avatar.
Absolutely.
It may not come in the avatar
But
of
it's
Krishna.
from the
of course.
same
Krishna
form.
is
It does. No, it comes in 10 or 9 avatars.
Yeah.
But is this only sort of reserved for Vishnu? There's
even
also
though-
I
concept.
think see, Vishnu itself, what is the problem is we see it as one entity. How did we redefine Vishnu? That all knowledge and all power, which has the capacity to preserve, okay? That for preservation of the universe, it brings into manifestation what? One given form,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like, oh, Shiva is not coming and Vishnu is coming. You see what I mean?
We all
Because
one
all
force.
these entities, we create
Yeah.
separate
For our
entities
understanding.
for our, in fact, for our non-understanding, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because if you see it in totality, you understand very well,
Yeah.
and it's not difficult to understand. By thinking that I'm making it simple, actually I'm making, I'm
Falsifying
actually,
it.
yeah,
I'm
I'm creating erroneous notions. Once you create erroneous notions, what they get compounded over a period of time. Okay? So this is why, because otherwise,
But because
I said-
we're giving form, we're giving Vishnu a form, otherwise
see, even that form, there is a representation, right?
Yeah.
The Vishnu
That's
has
what I'm saying, we're
that
actually-
blue, so that means what? It is sky, it is all pervasive. That representation itself
is
conveys
trying
something.
to be less form.
It is exactly. So it says that the blue means it's like sky, it is all pervasive. How the creation has come about is actually effortless. He's reclining. What does it mean? That it is effortless. Just like how you create the entire dream world. What do you say, okay, now today I'm going to buy this material, what? It comes spontaneously without any effort. These are all the representations which actually, if you begin to see, it all is behind it, it's all Vedanta. We don't understand, and that's why, for the sake of simplifying it, we are actually creating a distortion in our understanding. And we go on increasing that distortion, and we create images which take us away from the vision, the Vedic vision. So therefore, even that Shiva Linga that we have, it is, what is it? It is, if you want to represent this all knowledge and all power, and if you want to say that it is inland through all forms, but it is formless, this is a representation. A form which includes all the forms, but it does not have any specific form. This is the vision. So you have a representation which corresponds to reality. But what happens is, if you don't understand it accurately, you think that there is one person out there. Okay?
So is the key thing for avatar when something has to be corrected?
Exactly. The key thing for Avatara is three things. One is something has to be corrected, which otherwise cannot be corrected through the normal mechanism.
Yeah.
That is the first. The second thing is, everybody is born because of laws of karma. That means karma in my account. This is not
Yeah.
born because
Yeah.
of karma. And the third thing implied in this is, when I'm born of my karma, that means I have still not what? Solved
Yeah.
the mystery. That means there is ignorance. So I'm ignorant about myself, and I'm ignorant about the world, and in any given particular life I can what? Remove that ignorance ways, both with reference to things of the world as well as my own nature. But Avatara does not come with that way. It doesn't come with that ignorance. Sorry?
It's already wise.
It's already.
In its inherent form, it is
Nice.
wise.
Because it is not subject to karma and ignorance. So these are what we call the difference between any jiva and avatar. Okay. But a wise person, now let's look at wise
As
person and
close to
avatar.
an avatar as possible.
Exactly. Right? Because the wise person has solved this whole big equation. At the same time, as Bela says, the wise person still has what? body and mind which is born of prarabdha.
But the wise person need not be reborn.
After birth, after this
There.
particular
Yeah.
life,
It is the moksha.
it is
Yeah.
that is what we call
Yeah.
moksha. But while the person is born, the person
karma
is
to
continues.
live out his
that
The
one
he has to
must
finish.
continues. That you need to finish.
But you know, just one thing is, we can say that the Buddha came also for correction, but the Buddha himself says he came as the Buddha, as Gautam, as a result of karma, right? All his many births.
But he's not considered an
He's not
avatar.
So
avatar.
he is not. So would he be considered? That's what I'm
No,
asking.
Buddha is not an avatar.
So
When he got
In
enlightened,
fact, some
well,
people
yes,
say,
yes.
some people say no.
That's what they say.
In
So
fact,
he would know. I just thought the correction part, because he certainly, or Mahavir, they also came for correction, but they would not be considered.
They're not in the Dashavatara of Vishnu.
there are some people who show Buddha as avatar, but in tradition he's not. I mean, anybody can become a wise person, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can become a wise
Yeah.
person, but avatara we don't consider Gautam as an avatar because
Yeah.
he was born. He had
There
this whole
hasn't been
question
any
of
recent avatars.
no. I mean,
Recent
Kali.
But a
so
lot
it can't be an
of
avatar who
sculptures
comes as a human, as a
lot of the
Jiva,
sculptures
then
have
gets
Buddha.
enlightened.
that is a wise person.
Wise
All the
person.
time, that is
In
wise
fact,
person.
all the
This
books
prarabdha
have
karma
That is true. That is
And all
given the
this lots
there
of
is a
sculptures
possibility of
have
becoming
also.
wise. And in
The-
Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that me and the wise person are identical.
Okay.
In terms of the forms, we are different, but in
different.
terms of what is the reality, we are identical. And this is why Tattvavit, he doesn't say I, he says any wise person will see the world like this, the wise person will do like that. So he equates, it's not like you always have to think that Ishvara is one, higher than me. That basic thing he negates by showing that there is no essential difference. Okay. So the wise person is born ignorant but removes ignorance during a lifetime. Avatara is not born of ignorance but born for correction. Right?
In my lecture, we put 10 avatars of Vishnu. Matsya,
Yeah.
Kurma, Varana,
Yeah.
Narasimha, Varuna. And my accent's really bad. Then
Parashurama.
Yeah.
Rama, Krishna,
Rama,
Buddha.
Krishna. Yeah. So that's true. I mean, I've seen that. I've seen that.
Yeah. Actually, all the books, most of the books have
Some
it,
people
and
have
a lot
it, some
of the
people don't
art
have
has it also. A lot of the art.
See, now who was an
That's right.
avatara or who was not an avatara
Yes,
is not a question. I think more is like what is the idea of avatara,
Yeah.
right? How is it different from human being? That, I mean, just a normal person, you have to understand. And the distinguishing factors are these. Once you understand that,
Once the
then
human being has arrived and has the knowledge, really there's no distinction.
excellent.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's insignificant.
It is insignificant. Absolutely.
No, it was just a way of Hinduism to
Yes.
reincorporate. I mean, I understand that, but I was just saying.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I say 10 on that.
But you're right, I've seen it a lot. I've seen it that Buddha is included in some places, Buddha is not included in some places, but that doesn't really matter for us. Everybody potentially can know the truth and be one with Ishvara, right? So, once we know the avatara, now, so this is what a wise person, exactly as Arnaz is saying, what is the attitude of wise person, or what is the vision of wise person? This is what is explained in the next verse. This is chapter 4, verse 18. Karmanya pashet akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manusyeshu sayukta krishna karma kruta. You will chant after me. It's impossible.
It's so hard.
This one is really hard.
So, karmanya karmaya pashet akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manusyeshu sayukta krishna karma kruta. Sayukta Krishna Karma Krita. So here he says, now he keeps on coming back to Buddhiman Manusheshu. He doesn't keep on talking about I am Avtara and I am this and I am that. He is constantly saying, hey, you can become me. That is the whole focus of Bhagavad Gita. Right? So here he says, who is this Buddhiman Manusheshu? Among human beings, this person is Buddhiman. Who is this person? Buddhiman means the person who has proper intellect, Buddhi. Right? Everybody has Buddhi, but here the person is wise. Right? So here he says, Karmani akarma yav pashyet akarmani cha karmaya. Okay. Now, yesterday, for those who came, we saw this whole thing of what? Laws of dharma and laws of karma. Laws of dharma means you have a free will and how to guide the free will. It tells you different dimensions to make you use that free will more effectively. Okay? And every time, depending upon how well or not well you have used your free will, what you get the result. Right? This is what we call law of karma. So the whole thing is, if this is how it is, then you are caught in the cycle of action and result. There is no getting out. Because even if you do a good karma, you will get what? The result, right? Good result. And then you will come back, what? As one body, which is a relatively healthy body, relatively comfortable situations, and you will experience the result of your good karma. But still, there is a life. Huh?
You're still caught in the cycle.
You are still caught in the cycle. Okay? Who is the wise person who discovers the Atma, I, as what? Akarta. Akarta means non-doer. Everybody, when we say ignorance, what does it mean? I take myself to be a doer. Okay? As long as I take myself to be a doer, then the question is what actions I do. Okay? And then I get the result for the actions that I choose. Okay? Now, Buddhiman Manusheshu, the person asks, what is the nature of I? Am I the doer or am I not the doer? If you discover that who is the doer,
The form.
exactly, the form is the doer. All the actions are taking place at the level of forms. Okay? Who am I? I am that aware.
Observer.
Exactly. I am the observer, the awareness because of which what? All the different actions and its results are experienced. In that awareness, is there any action? In that, it is free of it. Okay? So that means I am is what we call akarta. Buddhiman understands that I am. Akarta means not the doer. Okay? While everybody else thinks I am the doer, okay, the wise person understands I am not the doer.
Doesn't that remove your responsibility for your actions?
Yeah, that's
See,
exactly
I'm not
my
the doer.
thought.
No. 1 minute. Sumi, one thing is very important to understand, that it's not a feeling, it is understanding who's the doer and who's not the doer.
Which part of you is the doer and which part
Exactly,
is the-
absolutely. Awareness, you cannot attribute any action because it's a fact. It's not your choice. It's not like I want to feel or I don't want to feel. It's just
But
seeing
it's in a
things
way
as
remembering
they
your
are.
awareness is available to you for this life
in this,
in this form.
through this
So
form.
there is a connect that you have to
Exactly.
allow.
Absolutely.
You cannot
Right.
absolve yourself of the connect,
Exactly. So that
however you
means,
think of it.
as Arnaz is saying, essentially, what is the nature of problem? When we say ignorance, veil, what does it mean? Awareness, which is already free from action, I have taken it as what? Something which is connected to the form, and I impute the limitations of form
On the
onto this
awareness.
awareness. Right? Now,
But you
cognitively,
can't say I did this so I won't feel guilty because I didn't do it.
exactly. But once having made that correction, which is a very fundamental correction,
It's just a shift.
It's just a shift.
It's like this.
It's a shift based on reality. Please understand, it's not brainwashing.
No, it's just
Now-
understanding more accurately.
More accurately, what is what, right? Then, having undone that mistake, as Arna says, the fact also is that in this lifetime you are connected to the body and mind,
And you will undergo all the
and you will undergo all the experiences.
And you should.
And you should, exactly. Nobody can actually stop it. Right? So this is why, if I'm connected to this body and mind, then what are my responsibilities? So that is not something that once you understand,
You're
that
shirking.
you're shirking.
Therein lies that wrong concept of detachment.
Exactly. Right? So you're not shirking anything, you're not ignoring anything, you're not, what your understanding is, yes, this awareness, even though it is free, it is it is seen or it is experienced by me through this given body, mind, sense complex. As long as this body, mind, sense complex is alive, then what? I still have to do. I have to do, and when I do, I have to follow what? The laws.
So if I want to get, say, I feel that this life I want to attain moksha at the end of it. What do I have to do?
So this is why you have to listen
You have
to this knowledge.
understand it completely accurately.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
remove all the ignorance.
Absolutely. So what he saw is, this is what Arjuna wanted, right? He wanted moksha, he wanted shreyas. So he has to listen to what Shastras say about the nature of I again and again. So as Arna says, you understand it accurately without your own additions or subtraction.
Yeah, and if you've understood it accurately, then you will apply that knowledge to every action, every reaction. Then that's when you've understood it accurately.
And also, the second thing, that whole karma yoga is what? To help you grow so that what the mind becomes less and less projecting, and so that you're increasing the capacity of mind to understand this accurately. Because a mind which is projecting in small things cannot understand this subtle reality accurately. So karma yoga is this whole thing of initiating self-growth. So if you feel that I want moksha, then these are the two things that one has to do. Listen to Shastra and see what it has to say about Atma, what is the nature of I, and you also have to initiate self-growth, which removes your subjectivity, so that your mind can capture this vision without distorting it. Okay? So self-discovery and self-growth. This is what one needs to do.
To ask a very weird question. I don't know if I should, but you know, the population of the world has expanded to such a large
Can't
Is
tell
that-
you me.
Yeah, the same time.
Same right now.
See,
Does
what
it
does
mean? How does this
we
balance?
have more of these atmas that have sprung up, so to speak,
Okay.
who are sort of not
Ignorant.
who are
We're
ignorant,
still searching. We're
who are
still
searching.
who are
As-
still
how come the
ignorant.
population of the world has increased?
Okay, that's a very easy to answer, because the jivas we think are only human beings. Jivas are bacteria, jivas are cats, jivas are what, dogs.
It's just the
Every
proportion has changed
living
at this
being.
point.
How many? Countless jivas, countless. And then not only on this
Form
earth,
has changed.
Yeah, there are so many
Forms keep
animals
changing.
are extinct, so many.
and then
Those
you
have
think,
evolved or come into this
Human
form.
in fact, yeah, Roshni, what Lord Krishna says is, there is no rule that once you are born as a human being, you will continue to be born as human being, right? You can go up or you can go down also. Okay? So this is why they say human birth is a very precious birth, very, very precious birth. Okay? Don't waste it away. There is a huge thing in Upanishads that if you are given human birth is for
So
moksha.
then there's a positive aspect.
You have,
to
or
it.
you have the potential.
You have the
You have
potential.
the
More and more
potential.
forms are having the potential to be
Exactly.
So
enlightened.
you actually think we've evolved more because our population is increased. So there, God is giving us a chance.
Yeah,
more
if we
and
want chance,
more and more
people
films are
chance.
getting a chance.
more
It's
people
superb.
a chance, Bela, but whether you actually make use of that
Yeah,
chance
that
or
of
not
course.
is something which
That's
is
free
totally
will,
up to
that's
you,
the choice.
right? And if you don't, then you cannot, you need not just go up, you can even go down, right? So this is why only thing is there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna asks Lord Krishna that I have initiated this knowledge, I see the profundity of this knowledge. What if I leave this world without totally understanding it? What will happen to me? Okay? So this is where Lord Krishna says, once you have come in touch with this knowledge, you cannot go down. You cannot go down anymore. It will, in fact, you will take birth in a way that somehow you will connect it to this, you will be connected to this knowledge till you finish it.
Then we may not necessarily evolve more. They say bacteria also multiply.
Yeah, but that means more jivas. See, whole universe is nothing but what? From manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. Things which were unmanifest come into manifestation, you know. So this all happens within, and we think it's only Earth. And in fact, according to there is so many, you know, galaxies, and there are so many life forms that we may not see with our eyes, but they exist.
Can I ask you a question? Simple.
Yes.
So I think for me this shift has been when growing up in the Western thought was that your senses, your mind was you were the doer.
Yeah,
And what I now understand is that you treat mind as a sense, more like a sense.
excellent.
The
It
doer is attribute. The awareness is completely has no attributes.
Excellent.
Okay. So it takes on.
It as though takes on, because I don't see it. Absolutely, right? So you're absolutely right. So the mind that we use in English, in Sanskrit, the word is antakarana. Karana means instrument, as you said, and anta means your inner, yeah, instrument that is given to you. And it is very important. It's not like, oh, you are not the mind, so you have to be indifferent. No, you need a very sharp mind to even understand Vedanta. Right? You are asking for clarity of thinking. Where is it? You are asking for a clear mind. Okay? But why do you want a clear mind? To understand that I am much more than the mind. That is the beauty. Okay? Not to stay with that error that I am as good as the mind. You need a good mind. You need a sharp mind. You need a mind which is what? Which has right values, is endowed and embellished with proper understanding of dharma, karma, all of that. You need that.
And I can control the mind.
Sorry?
And I can control
Then you
the
can
mind.
have certain mastery over your mind. Okay? Because that mind is required to solve the mystery. Without that mind, you can't solve the mystery of the universe.
It's like, you know, it's like this moment, this
Yeah, it is.
you know,
It
like
is.
Once you realize what it is,
Adapt.
how can you even go back to the other, to your old self? You know, it's like that.
Absolutely.
Don't we know? We all slip back so easily.
I think that's when we've not yet had our aha moment.
No, we're getting there in terms of understanding this knowledge.
I think you people have come a long way, I would think. You know, I mean, even to understand some basics, you know, like what is what. I have seen people studying Vedanta for years and years and years, and they
No, but we're
still
getting
hold it.
Clarity in terms of what
More and more
is.
it can't.
Yeah, this
More
is
than
it's
that,
a
we'll
control
see.
and
Yeah,
adapting
yes.
it.
That's
Yeah, I also
Understanding
feel
it,
that
not
I've
yet bringing it
understood
into
it,
our
bringing it into
Because we're
everyday
so
life.
busy with our day to day, we're not taking that moment to
No, it's
actually
hard. It's
listen.
very hard, you know. To make different choices is not easy. We've made these choices for years.
We won't ever not have those emotions like anger. It's just how to quickly get back to your equilibrium and control those. No?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
to
we won't.
talk yourself into a better choice. That's the only option.
That will go.
That is
Yeah,
lesson.
yeah.
Exactly.
At least that has lesson. It will last for maybe 1 day instead of 5 days.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Right? Then after 1 day, it will become 1 hour. So
For
there's
1
something,
second,
and
yeah.
sometimes these emotions will happen.
Yeah.
So you can't, you
Certain
can't
things
resist
are-
emotions. As she says, you can't resist emotions.
Yeah, you can't. Sometimes also
only
builds up,
have
builds
to-
up, builds up and then blows. Sometimes it does.
You only have to cultivate your buddhi in a way that you can manage these emotions.
Yeah.
You don't get totally carried away. This is what Vedanta. It's a very sane way of looking at life, right? And the more you cultivate your buddhi to manage those emotions, the intensity of those emotions will naturally drop.
But the other very interesting thing that yesterday Surya talked about was sphere of influence.
Yes.
And I think that is another huge hurdle in a way, because we have a sphere of influence, and to be independent of a lot of your connects in your thinking and in your choices is where we struggle so much.
No,
Where
so-
we feel responsible, and if
Yeah, and
that is
there
our
is-
biggest, I
that
think.
is really, it's very easy
Because
to
I
sit
did
here and
this,
say,
that one
this is
did
my
that.
knowledge,
we
this
think
is the
it's much
I know
greater
what I
than
need
it
to
is.
do,
Yeah.
but
And
hello,
actually,
it's
in
not
terms of our
I.
children,
It's
I
not
think we're all,
only-
Yeah.
we're all talking with thinking of our
Yes,
children.
exactly.
So-
But that's the
Yeah.
learning. That's the. We have to have. all
And
this to
that's
go
why
through
somebody
that
says that
life
you're
to-
as good as the company you keep a lot of the time, because it is when that somebody reinforces that thought, it is easier to make that choice, versus when you're in a situation where somebody feels totally differently, then it's hard for you to make that same choice.
But the sphere of influence is
Both
always
ways.
from you.
No,
also.
but it's also
So-
you are within the sphere of influence of so many
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you've also got to be aware of how little or how much you can
That is easy.
influence.
That is easy to
No, I
understand.
don't think it is. I think sometimes we think it is
Yeah.
much more than it
But
is,
that's
I
what he said
think.
yesterday, the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To understand what you
What,
can and
what you can't,
do.
what you can and can't.
That's important.
You need that. In fact, Arnaz's point, I want to give you one example, which is a very, it's a real example, that there is a French consulting firm, and they are into this, they want to bring ethics into management. Okay? So they give management seminars and workshops and all that, and their message is that if you are, let's say, working in a firm, okay, and if the firm is doing something, let's say, not totally right, then it is your moral obligation to what? Either stand
Speak
up
up.
or leave. Okay. Now, as a result, and people feel very inspired and all, so I have all these big shots of some big CEOs and all, they all left their jobs, right? Because then they see, because in any company you can't have like 100% following all the ethics and all the rules and all that. So they begin to see how much, even simple things like ad campaigns and how they out, it's like incredible.
Group
Right.
association.
Now, these people are dropouts, and then what?
They don't know where to go.
Exactly. They don't know where to go. So this is where Vedanta is a very practical way of looking at things, where we say, look at your sphere of influence. Okay? Because you want to change the whole world, and you want to do this, and you want to do that, but how much can you really do? One has to be realistic about it. Because if you are not realistic, you are actually a dropout in the society. And you don't do anything. Okay? So therefore, what we say is, you don't need to carry, let's say if you're an employee in a company, and you're doing your job, which is, let's say, your accounting head. Okay? And the CEO is making some decisions which are not, according to you, are not following the ethics totally. Okay? You are not the CEO. You need not carry the burden of what the CEO is doing, because that's his lookout. As long as you are doing your job properly, you are still what? Within your sphere of influence, you are doing your job well. If you really believe in something, then maybe you can find a very sophisticated and subtle way of influencing, exactly, rather than this, this, oh, I hate the CEO, and you start this big thing, and you are destroying yourself, and you are what? Destroying the harmony of the whole thing. Because imagine, I would say, find a place, if you leave your job, find a place in this whole world, in the corporate world, which is following all the ethics in all the way from top to bottom.
That's what I'm saying. Then you have to change completely your environment, where you choose to be.
Exactly.
And you may not
But even
find.
there is no such
Yeah, you
environment.
may
But there
not
is no
find.
such, and I
There
think
is
it's
no such
about
environment.
balance also in life, and I think the
Exactly.
whole trick is to balance so that you're on top.
So that means neither you say, I'm in this big system and I don't do anything. This is one thing that we fall into. Or the second thing is what? I want to change the whole system, I become a rebel, and it is counterproductive. The wisdom lies in wisely assessing your sphere of influence.
It's this
And
fine line.
within
It's,
that sphere of influence, being proactive. That is very intelligent way of living.
That's one of Surya's four boxes, the pragmatism and
Yes,
the realism.
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right? So one has to keep that in mind. Otherwise, you will actually, those people, I mean, what have you accomplished? You have not accomplished anything there.
But you see, the trick is not to
Not to
if
fall
you
into
are
the other.
yeah, but if you carry any amount of guilt
Yes,
and you're eroding your self-esteem, then
yes.
you have to make a different choice.
Absolutely. See, one thing is your immediate choices.
Yeah.
You're not responsible for CEO's choice.
No, but
You're-
like your choice, I'm staying in this job, watching him do this,
Yes.
and
and it
depends-
doesn't make me feel good about myself.
Also,
But the
it
thing
depends
is, you
what
can't
he is
take
doing.
on.
no?
See, that way you can take on the thing that, okay, now I'm part of this country, and the one minister is abusing, and
No,
I'm.
but it's a matter
So
of
you
what
see-
you can ignore and what you can't.
What you
Exactly.
choose
So
to
this is
ignore.
where.
Yeah, what you are able to in many ways. You might
this is
want
where-
to, but you may not be able to ignore
But
things.
isn't this the wise
So
man
this
also?
is where
This is
Arnaz, that whole
getting there.
skill of when I can make that in fact, in everything you can make a proactive choice, but that choice has to be in keeping with your sphere of influence.
There will be a lot of
The
debate within yourself at all times. Should I not, should I not? There will be, there's bound to be, like supposing you're in a company where everything is unethical, they're supporting the wrong people, they're doing everything wrong. Then you're going to keep wondering, should I be a part of this, should I not be a part of this? And
Yes, exactly.
at some point you may feel that I'm really unhappy in this job. But before you you find something for yourself before you jump around saying that I will not work in this.
See, this whole skill of life is, Arnaz, this is what we say.
Can
that
I
whole-
change it? I can't change it.
Yeah, it's the no absolute
Exactly.
to life.
Give it
Yeah.
back.
Right, so you give it back to charity, and then it's like finding creative ways of staying ethical, doing
in the
what
mad
you need
world.
to be done without this whole thing of fighting the system.
There are so
Actually,
I mean, if you think you are powerful enough or you have the will to
No, a lot
fight
of
it.
these purists sometimes
Are a
actually
mess.
are a mess because they don't know how to handle even their personal lives or
Yeah,
otherwise,
I
and
mean,
they've gone totally in the name of religion, in the name of the right thing, in the name of the things. They have totally lost the balance.
Yeah, but here we're
I
talking
think
of
it depends a
understanding
lot
of
on,
the
without
dharma.
generalizing. I mean, if your
That is the
boss
whole
is
thing.
doing
The most
something that
accurate
is
is a very-
very bad
It is
or
a
criminal or
that is what
something,
she's
so I
saying.
think
The
it's
most
very
accurate
difficult
is
to
not that
generalize.
we are not saying that. What we are
Yeah.
saying is
It's
real
real
influence.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
That you need
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
aware what,
But even
how.
if you
Otherwise,
know
we
that
are
this
just
is the right
like,
way,
this is wrong,
then
and
you're
you
not
just
able to
completely
choose that
label
right
that
path.
person,
No,
and then you just go and
needs
fight
to
with
be
this
done
counterproductive.
right
Counterproductive.
path.
Yeah.
So if you want to bring about a change,
You all
if
know
you're
between
interested
what is
in
right
that,
and wrong.
then you
Nobody
have to
is saying that she
really
doesn't.
find a
Even if it
creative
is
way
wrong
of
To do it,
doing
yeah, yeah.
Do that.
I mean, even for Mahatma Gandhi, non-cooperation is not a good thing. But he figured that was the way he could find out, he had a goal, and this is what he felt
The
was the right
least
way,
destructive.
the least destructive way of getting to this goal. I mean, if you really
he
look at
used-
non-cooperation as a entity in
No,
itself,
need-
it's a very bad thing.
Nima, just
But
to
he
say
used the most
that we all know
creative
what
way
is
to
right
do
and what
it,
is wrong.
no?
I mean, every
Yeah.
human being knows, even a child knows what is right and what is wrong.
Yes.
So does it always mean that we need to only do the right things?
As far as possible.
As far as possible.
Obviously, as far as possible, you
But
have to do the
sometimes,
right thing.
sometimes doing all those right things sometimes is not always right for you.
No, do what's right for you. That we do, right?
No, the ethics and
This is the intention. Why are you
Of ethics.
making that choice? To understand very accurately why you are making a choice.
Like
No,
what,
one
for
minute.
example, in a business, now if I only want to do only the right things, honestly I cannot do business.
But is
I
right
cannot
absolute?
live in that absolute
This
life.
is exactly what we are saying, Gopi, that there is the
That-
whole,
am I-
whole discussion of dharma that I'm trying to convey to you is, we have this whole vision of dharma as black and white, right? So there is so much in between, there is this whole big
But-
range, and within that, what? Because the world is not perfect. You
Yeah,
don't live
but-
in a perfect world,
But
right?
Neema, would
And
it-
you want to be as honest as possible,
Correct.
because if you go against certain universal values, there is a cost. Cost to
Exactly. So
you,
the cost has
right?
to come.
So 1 second. So the
Yeah.
cost is for you. Don't think that you're obliging others when you're following values. If you think that if you're just obliging others and you are at a loss when you follow values, then this is a wrong understanding of things. So first you need to correct this understanding, that by trying to be as close to dharma as possible, I am benefiting myself, right? Now, but the world in which you find yourself is not a perfect world, right? So therefore, it requires what? Skillful intervention. And for that skillful intervention, you need to really be not overtaking the burden, at the same time doing what you have to do proactively, and that's a very fine balance. That's why you need to have a refined mind, to have the right interventions. And
but your
that's why,
priorities also
you-
then will change as
Exactly.
your
as you
thinking
exactly,
changes, your
Absolutely.
priorities will change.
change, absolutely, right? But you can't move from one step to the next step like overnight. So what you have to do is initiate what? Your whole
Path.
thing,
But
path.
ultimately, you are trying to get
Get there.
You're trying to get as close to white
Yeah.
as
As
possible.
close to,
Yeah.
So from being dark grey, you become light grey to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely. And that is for your own good, because what every time you go against that, you lose. Like you think that you can't do business and all that. It's true. Maybe it is true. We don't know. But at the same time, if you just disregard dharma, then so many difficulties come up that you don't even know what is the cause, right? So this is what happens. So that means you have to learn to be as close to. Now just, I'll give you an example that how you move from this whole thing of this nuance and initiating one step in the right direction rather than, this. This is a real case. I just met somebody whose sister-in-law is a very famous dancer. Okay? Now this sister-in-law first, she told me the story that she was married in a family where there was a lot of demands by the family of how she should be, and so that means she was his dancer and she had to completely give up dancing. Okay? And she was a very good dancer. So then all her responsibilities totally consumed her, and then she was what? Getting highly dissatisfied, because initially you said, okay, now these are my duties and this and that, but if you don't nourish yourself, if you don't look after yourself, then all this dissatisfaction is going to grow. So this misplaced understanding of duties is also something, because you also have duty towards yourself. Please include yourself in the duties. Don't think that you have duties only with reference to others. You also have prime duty for your own moksha, right? Then somebody advised, this lady, she advised her, she says, if you start rebelling and say, now I'm a dancer and I want to do this, and it will create a huge big tension. So that's why we either think that either I'm totally submissive and I just keep on following, or what? I rebel and I just say, now this is what I want to do absolutely, and I'm going to go, and all of you just, I don't care. And that also creates a lot of conflict. Okay? So what she advised her, she says, you go kind of 1 hour per day and you practice with another friend that she had. Okay? So that means 1 hour is okay. So you start with 1 hour, okay? And that 1 hour then became 2 hours. Then she got this thing for one performance somewhere. So then slowly, what? Now she's a big performer. She goes to Japan, she goes to Korea, she travels internationally, and she has not what? So every
Non-disruptive.
it started Huh?
She's so
Yeah,
nice.
she's very happily married, and the family is very, very supportive.
Accepting,
Because it's
yeah.
not like she moved from one point to the other point.
Yeah.
She did it slowly.
She did it slowly. This is
Smart.
what we call
Very
smart,
smart.
insignificant interventions. 1 hour, people say, yeah, what, 1
And
hour.
we don't give people enough credit for their capacity to understand.
Exactly. So that means that, our whole mind is bipolar. You have to remove that bipolar mind. This is the biggest destruction. That is what we call refinement and subtlety. Bhagavad Gita makes you that person. So that is when your creativity, so many subtle interventions that you can do which can make huge differences over a period of time. Okay, so this is where this whole thing about it being this wise person has understood that I am akarta. Akarta means that basic error of what is removed. So this is where if I am akarta is understood, then what happens is karmani akarma yav pashyet. Okay? The person can be very, very active, karmani, okay? I can be using this body and mind very effectively, as Arna says, okay? But still, the person sees it as akarta. I am akarta. Why?
I am just an awareness.
Exactly. Right? Karmani akarma yav pashyet. Okay? So therefore, this, as long as I know I'm awareness, I can be the most proactive human being. I can be very active, but I still consider myself as akarta. Akarmani cha karmaya. Okay? But if you have not removed that ignorance about what is the nature of I, if you have not understood, right? Atma is awareness which never performs any action. And if you are just lazy person, that is what? For others you are inactive, but it is still what? Karma. Because you have a choice. Instead of being proactive, you are lazy. Okay? As long as that error is not removed, even if you are sleeping, you are performing karma. Why? Because you are a karta. As long as you are a karta, you are within the model of karma. So the less responsibilities what you take on, you are not living up according to your duties and responsibilities. Exactly. Right? So generally our understanding is, if I am very active, then there is action, and if I am not active, there is non-action. Wise person has a totally different understanding. If Atma is understood to be akarta, then no matter how active you are not good. If you have not understood the nature of I, then you are not doing anything and you are just sitting around. That is an action. Because you have a choice. You have made the choice of what? Of not being proactive. Karmani akarma yav pashyet akarmani cha karmayaha sabuddhiman manusheshu. This person is buddhiman, knows exactly but doesn't take to inactivity. Okay. Sa krusna karma kut. Everything that is to be done by that person is done. Okay. So that means the engagement with the world that everybody has is what? For everybody it is for my personal fulfillment. What is my whole understanding? Right now, the way I am not fulfilled. I lack something. I feel sense of inadequacy. I have sense of limitation. I feel not totally at ease with myself. This is the basis, and then what? I want to perform an action to
Feel better.
Feel better, okay? Or to address the inadequacies that I feel within myself. What is a wise person doing now?
So I am
Atma is free. Right? is already free from every limitation. And at the same time, I am given this body and mind, so I act out of not lack but freedom. This is an embellishment. I do what I have to do. What do I lose? In fact, I have nothing but to gain by doing something, because I live in an interconnected world. Even though it is mithya, it is what? Interconnected world. And I have been born with a certain set of skills, understanding, and I use it for contribution. So this is for this person, Krishna Karma Krit, means everything which is to be done is done by this person. Because the main problem, which is what? The lack which is centered on I is,
How do I know all the things that I am supposed to do? I may not understand that. That is the wise person.
that is something that life unfolds. Life unfolds, and sometimes you know exactly what you have to do. Sometimes
When I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
No, but usually
sometimes-
it's by learning. When you actually do, you realize, yeah, this is what needs to be done, and sometimes you do and you say, no, this is not what needs to be done. So you see it more and more
That's what
clearly,
it
I
makes
guess.
me always aware. Right?
Of course,
Yeah.
mindful.
Yeah, you have to be mindful. See, there is no one automatic formula, right? You have to be, and this is where I think there is this whole thing about, some Harvard business person was talking about this whole idea of success, right? What is a success? So initially what it is, you are like your position, but then you can't just stay there. You also, human being is not unidimensional. Human being is multidimensional. Okay? So one can be your major prime activity. Let's say you're a doctor and you have to do that job, and it does occupy a lot of your time. But you can't devote all your life only to one thing, because you have other needs. So that means success is also to then recognize that no human being is unidimensional. As long as you make your life unidimensional, you're depriving yourself of that happiness. So that means you have to identify what are my other areas of interest. And you have to do, if not equal, you have to express, you have to find some way of expressing those interests. This is what we call, holistic living. Okay? That is the second aspect. The third aspect is this whole thing of legacy. Okay? Now, what am I going to, I have all these talents, and I think I heard one Sarna saying that one thing is that you are teaching, but have you thought about,
Actually, we have.
yeah, exactly. That creating new teachers who can actually communicate the same thing. So this is what we call leaving the legacy behind. That you pass on the skill. Not only you make people understand things, but you also create new people who can teach. Right? So this is what is another whole success is all, that human being requires all these nourishments for what we call success. And the wise person can engage in all of this with freedom. Okay? Multi-dimensional express. It's not like, once you are, this whole thing of one-dimensional spirituality and saying the whole rest of the world is material, this itself is the biggest harm. Because the whole vision of Vedanta is, all that is here is Ishvara. The dance forms are manifestation of Ishvara. The intellect with which scientists discover things is manifestation of Ishvara. Okay? Any creativity that people do, the artist, is manifestation of Ishvara. Okay? And you can actually enjoy everything. You don't need to create this whole big division between spiritual and material. There is no such thing called material. All that is here is one reality, manifesting as different names and forms. You have the freedom to enjoy everything. As long as it is within dharma. As long as you don't harm anybody, not enjoy in that irresponsible manner, but there is so many things.
It's your responsibility to teach somebody to be able to teach. But if that person doesn't receive that teaching, it's not your problem.
It's not my problem. Exactly. Right? But I have to make myself available. and you have to make some choices when you make yourself a leader. Right? So some proactive choices, but even at that, at what time, in what manner, in what degree, that's why you have to flow with the universe. And this is why Gayatri Mantra is also, you try your best and ask for help from the universe. Give me clarity. Because not every time you have clarity about everything. So ask for clarity. Prayer and effort. Prayer and effort. This is something you combine the two and live in harmony with the universe. Because if you are in a flow, you are in a flow of a river. Okay? If you try to go against the flow, what happens? You hardly get anywhere. If you're totally oblivious to how this whole flow is and the direction and how it goes, then what? Maybe even if you are in the same direction, you are not totally...
Some progress.
Yeah, some progress, but not totally. But if you are intelligent, then what will you do?
You know that now there's going to be a bend, so now I'll go there.
Exactly. This is what life is. You don't need to know how the next bend, you just need to know what. What is the next bend? And you navigate till there. Then what? New vistas will open.
And you make enough to know that how to recognize a bend.
Exactly. Right? And you ask for that. And see the situations that come to you in a different light. You see it only as what? Black and white. I like it, I don't like it. This is a very, very kind of basic mind. Now, what are the lessons? What can I do? Okay? How can I contribute? This is a refined subtle. And that is what is going to make all the difference. All the difference. So this is what Gita is talking about. Ultimately, you have to know I am Akarta, but to get there, you need a lot of action. Lot of actions, and even after you have understood that, lot of actions can flow out of freedom and not out of lack. Okay. So akarta, it does not mean you don't do anything. Otherwise, this is exactly what most of the spiritual people who listen to spirituality. Oh, once you think that you are the whole, you will not do anything. That's not what is said. You do it, but out of freedom, not out of lack. And while you are very active, you don't attribute that action to Atma. Atma is all enough. That is your knowledge. So Bhagavad Gita is subtle. It makes it all, very, and if you don't understand, there is a big problem because people just make associations which are not true. Now, the next thing is, here he is talking about this, a wise person can be very active. Then one can ask this question that the Vedic tradition also allows a different lifestyle, which is that of sannyasa. So what is the use of sannyasa and what it is that we will see next time. Om Purnamadav Purnamidav Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri